Hey, thank you for tuning in to this next episode of I Fight What You Fear with Richard Vega. I'm so grateful that you tuned in to hear today's show and our guest, my good friend, pastor and council member, Willie Davis. He has an amazing story, and I can't wait to share it with you. Now, you weren't a Republican.
No.
You were a strong Democrat at one time.
That's right. I sure was.
I mean, and you were a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
And what happened? I mean, why the switch?
Well, because it's easily, for me, and that was a switch because some of it, the truth of it is, and I think it's generally the story of most Black Americans as well as Hispanic American, Latino Americans, we all have been, basically guided to believe that being a Democrat is the right thing to do. Being a Democrat is going to be beneficial to me as a Black and as to you as a brown. But what we come to realize is that that was against much of our faith and what we were taught and the values we were taught, because Black America for years after slavery voted Republican. They were Republicans. They voted all the time for Republicans because we believed in independence. We believe in our own ownership, our own land, our own, business and all. That's how we thrive. Now, if we all just tell the truth, which a lot of them are not going to tell the truth today because the Democratic Party, and not trying to put one over the other, but I used to be that hardcore Democrat. But it was because of the lack of knowledge, the lack of research, the lack of me looking at what the values were. And as I grew as a man of faith and the biblical principles of God, I was like, no, this doesn't parallel with my lifestyle and with my family values as well as my core values as a person of faith, right? So then that began to change me, and I'm like, no, I can't go with that. And I can't go with that person. So then I started moving to the Republican Party, in which there were not many Blacks, and there's still today not as many Blacks, but I see the pendulum swinging. So what it did for me was it was an issue of values. It was an issue around family, around faith, you understand? And so it was an easy transition. And yes, I was heavy involved in the Democratic Party, but it was, to be a Democrat, you were told to be a Democrat. But to be a Democrat wasn't, well, Democrats hold my values. And there are some values that the Democratic Party had in the late 60s and the 70s. They were more conservative values than they were liberal values. And so that was the thing for me. I'm like, no, I can't do it. The issues around many of the Democrat issues were strong. The issues of the John F. K's and back in those days and the Barbara Jordans, when you listen to those people, they were very conservative in their issues, right? So that's what helped me and helped to convince me. Also, I'd say this for the record, there are a lot of things that the Democrats stood for, like, labor and equal rights in terms of employment and equal rights in regarding education, and some of those leaders, and Martin Luther King and Medgar Evers and other men and women like them, they believed in family values. They believe in equality across the board. Everybody throw the word equity. Today is equity. Okay, well, we moved away from what's equal to what's equitable. And I can't go there, Pastor.
No.
I just can't do that one. Because maybe that's because I'm that dinosaur that my life benefit because what was equal. I didn't want, when I got in the trenches with a soldier in the military, man, when you get in the military, the first thing they tell you, we don't deal with color here. Every one of you got on a green uniform. That was it, baby. And when you went in that foxhole, or you went in that battle, you gonna bring your brother out of there, whether he black, white, or brown.
That's right.
You ain't gonna leave no brother behind. Why? Because we green.
That's right.
And that's the way we need to be. And you made a good point earlier about racism. And I often discuss this quite often. Does racism exist? Better know it does. You better know it does. But I will say this, it's not as what it used to be. Mm-hmm. And there are those of us living in our society, they want to propagandize the mind of people. Well, it still exists, that racism, that did it to you because of their race. No. A lot of things happen to you because you is the cause of that happening.
That's right.
And so here's my thing on racism. And I'm so glad you give me the time and appreciated to voice it. You just said, Willie, you came up in the movement, civil rights movement. You grew up and raised up through the movement. You started your life and succeeded after the movement. Absolutely. And guess what? I can honestly tell people, because when I say it, I'm speaking from experience. Mm-hmm. I've come to where I am over 60 years old, but all that I've gone through from college to the military, even as a preacher and a pastor, travel around the world, let me tell you, racism to me is not the American problem. Pastor, I don't think racism is our problem. You know what I think it is? I think it's culturalism. Because what we don't do, we don't understand each other's culture. See, when they dropped me off, I was a young man, and when they dropped me off, put me on this big jumbo jet at the age about 19 or whatever, and flew me to Okinawa, Japan. And I never forget flying into Tokyo. And as I'm flying in and the plane is coming down to the runway, and I look out the window and I'm going, whoa. The buildings were different. The words were different. Everything about that was different. My world, my eyes said, you are no longer in the United States. Right. You are no longer in Houston, Texas, man. You in Tokyo, Japan. And I got off the plane. And I'm looking at people that dress different, talk different, ate different food than what I did. You understand? Everything about them, their mannerism and what they did was so different. So guess what? I was the foreigner. They were not the foreigners. I'm in their country, and I'm learning to accept their lifestyle and what they do. That's culturalism. Why would I go in there with prejudices about them? I need to understand them. I need to learn their way of living, their way of talking, their way of why they do what they do. And once you do that, they accept you. See, so I think the problem with racism, in my view, is the fact that we don't talk to each other. We talk at each other. We don't learn to know why you do what you do. Simply all I got to do is ask you. But I won't do that because I got that prejudice, and the perception of it. Well, I ain't going to say nothing to Pastor Vega because he's Mexican-American. I'm not going to say nothing to him. See, to me, that's the problem. And everybody talks about why nothing ever happens in change because we don't talk to each other. We talk at each other.
I've seen, in the Republican Party, you hear about how racist it is and all the old racist white people. That's what you hear.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I haven't experienced it. No one, if it is, they hiding it. But, I go to meetings that
we do.
You know what I'm saying? Like we're behind those closed doors.
Sure.
We get invited to those tables.
Yes, we do.
I just went to the Republican convention last year. Not the Republican, the Harris County
right.
Republican convention, and I thought I saw a black man on stage. Oh, wait, that was you. You did the prayer and the welcoming, didn't you?
I did.
I don't know, but it's funny that I hear that from people. I'm like, man, just come. Just start. If you just want to look through your lens that the world is racist, then that's all you're going to see.
That's all you're going to see.
But, like you said, getting understanding each other's culture and then embracing it and then enjoy it. Like, we live in the greatest city diversity in the world.
In the world.
Like we had, you and I, we ain't picky. We eat Chinese food, right? We're going to eat soul food, Mexican food. It don't matter.
It doesn't matter, brother.
Cuisine beans are there.
That's it, brother.
Share your culture with me.
Come on, man. Listen, I mean, that's what it is. When I first accepted my calling of a church in Chicago, and I went there, so everything that was Houston, Texas, Tex-Mex, and all the good stuff, the soul food and stuff I'm used to eating in Houston, man, I now transitioned to Midwest Chicago, and everything is different. I walk up to a place that says, we sell barbecue, and I go up there and I say, yeah, man, let me get a half a pound of ribs. They said, huh? I said, half a pound of ribs? They said, well, oh, okay. So they come back, they brought, and man, it was ends like that. I said, this the ribs? They said, yeah, it's rib tips.
Like, hold on, man.
I'm looking for like a bone, man.
Hey, I want that meat, baby.
I want the meat, baby. So difference, you see what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm buying it from a black, business owner. So there are differences. And so we learn to make those shifts of differences. And you're absolutely right. I've been the chaplain of the Republican Party now for over 2 years. I do invocations at functions. I do them at people's homes in River Oaks and Memorial and other. And I walk in the door, hey, Willie, whatever. Hey, listen, I don't go in there acting like I'm not a black man, because that ain't what's on my mind. I'm a man.
Right, that's right.
Okay, I'm a person. And I walk in there and I speak to the same issues. The problem, again, going back to what you're saying, this whole thing, because, and what's interesting about it is that we run from the fact of being different, right? To me, being different is a good thing.
That's right.
You understand?
Yeah.
When I was running and you guys were supporting me and whatever, and I'll never forget, most people knew, well, Willie is a conservative, he's, and I even have some of my black voters and many of the communities come in and they hearing about me because the other people in the group, and they says, well, Willie, Pastor David, let me ask you, what are you? And I said, well, what do you mean? What am I? He said, are you a Democrat or Republican? I said, well, I can answer that for you, but let me clarify to the question. First of all, if you're asking me that question in regarding to whether you should vote for me or not, let me just make sure so I know how to answer it. They said, well, yeah. I said, well, okay. Well, first of all, to run for the city council of the city of Houston, according to the charter, is not partisan.
Correct.
It's not either Democrat or Republican. There are no D's and R's in front of my name. You understand that? Most of them didn't know. They don't know. Like, well, okay, so let's get that out the way. It's nonpartisan. Do you know what that means? Well, yeah. Okay, so now let's get to the second thing as to who I am. Let me give it to you in this order. I am a moral conservative. Now they're scratching their head because, first of all, this person is so dipped into being a Democrat or Republican, they don't know the difference about what somebody says a moral conservative. Now, I said, good. I can see by the look on your face, you don't even know what I'm talking about. So let me explain it to you. I said, now, which I have no objections. Call me what you want. If that means you think me as a Republican, then fine. But keep in mind what I said moral. And I put moral before conservatism because my objective is to live according to the Word of God as it applies to lifestyle, family, community, and everything, okay? And now we deal with the conservative side. I believe in lowering people's taxes, to giving more the ability to spend your money the way you want to spend it without somebody taking your money and spend it the way they want to spend it and then add you more taxes on you to make up what they just took from you to spend. So, we can do that little thing back and forth. But you're right. There's this perception that being a Republican and a conservative is racism. There's it doesn't exist. It's not there. Right. It's a figment of people's imagination, and then the ones who basically, in my mindset, when we say that these parties, some of them have enslaved us, well, they've done just that. Because they're telling you, if you don't do this, then you're not, you can't be a black man. You can't be a brown.
You don't vote for Biden, right?
Yeah, if you're not black. I'm like, what? I would have given $1 million if I had it for him to ask me that question.
Well, my thing is, where was the black community on
Oh,
that,
man.
I mean, come on, bro. Like, I mean, I was like, oh, he just hit the whole horn.
Man, that would have been fight words.
Nothing.
Come on, man.
I'm like, bro.
Look at, man. That's, to me. Someone said that to me, man. That's like playing the dozen. You know, in the hood, you play the dozen. Like when you talk about people, mom and dad. Oh no, doc, the fight is on. You play the dozen. Now we can joke and we can say certain things about each other, the game, you know. But doc, don't go there by mama. And don't go there by dad.
He's not even black.
He's not even
and
black.
He's telling you ain't black.
So who? Okay. So, Mr. Biden, define to me what is being black, which you've never been.
Never been.
You've never been a day in your life.
Never lived in a black community. Never represented a black community. I mean, I don't even know if he had black friends. I mean, I know he locked up a lot of black folks. I know his bills
sure did
put a lot of black folks away. Sure did. Let's be real.
And so it's those type of things that our community is coming out. I think they're coming out from up under that cloud, that they have been under, man. They've been, been used, and we've been told, no, make your own decision.
Right.
And decisions you make those decisions by your own values.
Right.
Whether they Democrat or Republican. I'm not saying every Republican I support,
That's right.
But the fact of the matter is, it's about the values. It's about what I set my own goals for. That's the way I've always been, Pastor. I've always felt like I could do whatever that my mind, shape and mold me to do.
That's right.
And I've done it. And I've reached it. And I'm steady doing it. And now I'm in a position that I want to help others do it. I want to help as many as I can I'm just representing an office. And I want the person to follow me. And whether that person is black or brown, male or female, I don't care. But I want to represent it so well that people say, man, if Willie do it. And believe it, I've been in there a month, and I'm getting so many calls from schools saying, hey, man, we want you to come. We read your story about your life, like what you asked. And they were like, man, we looked on your website, and we were like, what? This brother came from the hood, went to college, and based on the fact that his dad got whatever, and he volunteered for the Army and during the Vietnam time, like, whoa, man, this brother come back and running it. So it's a story, And so because that drug scene that I grew up in is another label in my life's story, because I lost friends, some very, very close friends that I grew up with. I did something one time that I wasn't aware of what I was doing, and it could have cost me my life to this day. Your friend Willie Davis might not have been sitting here. And what it was, in going to Sam Houston, I would go there and I may not come back home for like a couple of weeks or whatever. Well, some of my personal friends in the hood had gone through that speed and acid, and everything was going on back then, breaking down the families. And about 4 or 5 of my very close friends, now these are guys that I literally went to school, elementary, middle school, high school. Well, I'm in college. We all in the hood. But everybody know, oh, man, that's Willie, man. Oh, Willie going to college. What's up, Willie, man? Our college was doing good, man. Hang in there, brother. Well, some of those personal friends of mine became heroin addicts. Pastor, their heroin addiction cost them $1,200 per week.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine that? In 1969-70, $1,200 a week. Man. So I wasn't aware because I'm away.
Right.
So I came home one weekend, And my car's parked there at my home. And these guys came, knocked on the door. We all brothers from the hood, right? And they asked my mother, yes, Miss Davis, is Ray here? Because Ray is my middle name. Yeah, he's here. Hey, come here, hey, Ray. Alan outside, they wanted to see you. I said, okay. So I go out there. I'm like, what's up, man? Everybody, hey, man, what's happening, bro? Nothing good. I said, look, man, can you do us a favor? What's that? Man, can you take us? Need a little place we got to go to, man. We'll give you some money for gas if you would take us. I said, sure. These guys I know, right? Mm-hmm. We get in the car. We drive to the north side of town. Matter of fact, what we call the community called Studewood, which is over near the original police station, back off in there, kind of like part of the Heights in there and there, right? So I get in the car. They get in the car. 3 of them in the car. They get in the car. I drive them. Now, they telling me where to go. So I take them there. They get out the car. They go upstairs into kind of like a duplex, 2-story building, apartment on the top. And they there, 15 minutes gone by, 20 minutes gone by, and I'm sitting out there and I'm going, man, what are they, what's going on? 30 minutes gone by, something going on, bump, bump, bump. And one of them comes out and says, okay, man, we be right down, man. We coming, Ray. It's okay. So, man, it's like 45 minutes go by. And they finally come out. Took them back. I said, look, man, I got to get back, brothers. I got work, homework, assignment stuff to do. Okay, man, we really appreciate you, man, And, by this time, I'm a little, steamed about it. Like, man, I just thought I was taking you somewhere and come back. And they were like, well, man, here's some money for you guys. I said, no, don't worry about it. I just got to go, man. It's okay. I get back home. Well, that evening, this happened in midday, like 11, 12 o'clock in the day. That evening, my oldest brother came over to the house. He said, hey, little bro, you got something going on tonight? Nah, man. Well, throw me your keys, man. I got a little rendezvous. Me and the brother's going to do something. I said, okay. So I threw him my keys. Well, they take the car. They go off. And I'm at home. So they bring the car back. It's like late at night, man. I'm in there asleep. I don't even remember when they brought the car back. Well, the next morning, man, like 7:30 a.m. in the morning, my brothers come to the house and tell Mom, hey, Mom, little bro still asleep? She said, yeah. Okay, well, we got to talk to him. So they come in, get me up, say, man, we need to talk to you. So, okay. So me and my brothers, we go outside, 2 older brothers. And they looking at me, man, mean mugging me, looking down on me. And I'm like, what's up? They said, say, man, what did we tell you about drugs, man? Like, what? When did you start smoking marijuana? Man, I don't smoke marijuana. Don't lie to us. Dudes, I don't smoke marijuana. And I didn't. Even in college, because marijuana made me sick. I couldn't stand people around it. To this day, I cannot, okay? Never did it in my life. One of the guys sitting in the back seat of the car dropped the marijuana square on the floor of my car. And it was there, so they thought it was mine. But they didn't know I picked up these guys the day before. So they out there, man, they getting really angry and riled up at me. So much so, my mother comes to the door. She's like, what's going on out here? Oh, nothing, Mom. We got it. It's just, we talking and what? She's like, well, y'all talking rather, rough out there. Yeah. It goes on and on and on. So then, man, they are so angry, man. They literally is getting ready to jack me up. My 2 brothers, they were adamant. You're not going to deal with it. If you decide you want to do a drug. Real brothers. Yeah. If you ever decide you want to do a drug, you better tell us.
Man, I wish the families were like
man,
today.
That's what I'm talking about. Man. My brothers was getting ready to put some hands on me. Yeah. Let's be clear. Because they were like, no, dude. Yeah. We got too much in state in you. Can't let you do this. Right. I'm like, man, I'm not doing it. And then they were like, well, man, tell us. I said, look, man, Joe and Alan was with me. Somebody, and one of the guys was sitting in the back seat. Maybe that was his. They said, who? And I told them, they said, what do you mean? When were they in your car? I said, yesterday. I picked them up and took them out to Studewood. And my brothers looked at each other like, what? I'm like, yeah. They asked for a ride, and I gave them a ride. I said, ask Mom. They come and woke me up. Mom, did Alan and them come over to get little brother yesterday? She said, yeah, they came over and knocked on the door and asked him if he could take them somewhere. And my mother said, why? And like, oh, Mom, ain't nothing much. She said, listen, now I'm getting tired of you guys out here. Y'all done took him out of the bed and da-da-da-da-da. Yeah. Oh, no, Mom, it's cool. I'm like, no, Mom, it's all right.
And it's 7:30 in the morning.
7:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
My brother said, little bro, we understand now. I said, why? I said, man, you don't even know where you went. I said, no, I sit out in the car. They held me out there for 45 minutes, man. I was getting really upset. They said, little bro, first of all, we sorry. We didn't know. But bro, do you know where you went? I said, no, I don't know the place. He said, I know you don't know. Heroin purchasers. They went to buy heroin. They shot up. When you went upstairs, they shot up in heroin, man. You knew nothing about it. We gonna take responsibility because we didn't tell you. Alan them's got a $1,200 heroin addiction a week. And I'm going, you got to be kidding me. No, look, bro, if they would have stopped you, because you could rest assured they had more heroin on them.
Oh, yeah.
So if they would have stopped you, if the police or Sting would have been watching that facility, that apartment, you would have went to jail, man.
Man.
My life would have turned a total different way. So I said that, and this is what I tell young people today. That's my story.
Right.
One incident could have cost me my life for the rest of my life. Making good choices,
right,
knowing what you're doing. You see, that destroyed my community. I lost friends. And that very guy that I picked up that day, 3 years later, man, he was dead before he was 25. Heroin addict.
Man.
I went to his service, and they had him in a casket, and he had his clothes on, and he didn't have a tie, nothing. And I went there, and I saw my friend, and I said, where's the tie? Well, I drove back home and got a necktie and put it on him. It really crushed me.
Yeah.
But I saw what I could have been.
Mm-hmm.
I saw what I could have been. And so it changed my life. It changed our community. It did. And it took hope. It sucked all of the dreams out of him. I visited him in a county jail, but he was in the hospital at Bental. And his mother told me where he was. He was dying of bone cancer, heroin addict, and I visited him, but I didn't tell him I was coming. His mother didn't tell him I was coming. And when he walked out and came into the little room where you look through the glass and talk to each other, and when he saw me through the glass, he just broke down. He broke down, man. And I said, Alan, just sit down, brother. He sat down, man. He said, Willie, man, I wish I'd have had the willpower that you had.
Yeah.
See, so yes, Pastor, I've seen it. I've experienced it. I've seen it. Mm-hmm. I've lived in it. Thank God I've been blessed to come out of it and move on in life. So that's my mission. My mission is to serve, help others, to get our community today, our society today of young people to say, don't become a victim.
Right.
Can't
have that victim mentality.
Can't do it.
But we're not even remotely close in our country for you to even claim that mess.
That's right.
Like it doesn't exist, man. That's what they don't understand. Like, look, one thing real quick, and we're gonna end on this. They just overturned the affirmative action last year, I think it was, and then a friend of mine, Charlie Kirk, he's being blasted right now as being a racist because he said he said that, you know, he said, you want to hear a thought crime, and he said getting on a plane and seeing a black person and thinking, I wonder if he's qualified, and he says, now I don't think like this. It's not me. Mm-hmm. But he's talking about affirmative action and what American Airlines did with the DEF change. So I don't know if you heard about this, but they said we're going to hire 50% is going to be minorities. And, you know, here's what, you know, my stance, and I want to get your opinion on it.
Sure.
When that plane takes off and lands, I don't care what the color of their skin is. I just want to know they passed every test with A's. And if we hit turbulence, I want the guy who made all 100s and he flew or she flew that plane because she knows it inside and out.
Yeah.
I don't want somebody who was hired and barely got through school.
That's right.
And got hired because of the color of their skin.
That's right.
I'm trying to get home. Like, I'm not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, in affirmative action, you know, they were hired because of the civil action aspect of it. And because of the color of your skin. Now they're blasting him as a racist, which we know Charlie is not a racist. But I'm just curious on your thoughts of that.
I think I think that's a road that we shouldn't travel. I think Charlie Kirk, I met Charlie Kirk. He came down for the party, invited by Cindy Siegel. Mm-hmm. And I did the invocation and thing, had a chance to talk to Charlie back then. Good guy, great guy. And speak his truth, and he's right. I don't want to see affirmative action, because let's go down that road for a second. Are we going to affirmative action the military? Are we going to affirmative action the police department? Are we going to affirmative action the school districts? Are we going to affirmative action the hospitals or doctors and nurses and whatever? No. I don't want a doctor trying to save my life based on his or her color.
Right.
I want the best guy that's got the best experience that can help me, man, whatever, you know, because it's just sustaining my life, you know. Right. I trust God and the Holy Spirit to keep me alive, right? Yeah. But here's the deal. We are always going down a road that's a dead-end road, okay? And affirmative action is not going to yield us the best. It's going to yield us whatever they get.
The acceptance.
The acceptance. And that, Pastor Vega, just doesn't meet the mustard. We can no longer do that. I don't care if that pilot is Hispanic. I don't care if that pilot is male or female. I don't care if that pilot is Chinese or Japanese. I don't care. As long as that person, like you say, get me off the way I'm going and get me back home.
Yeah.
That's all that matters to me. And I think we go down these roads because we have people in this society that are always looking to divide than to unite. Yep. I cannot stand that. As people of God and of faith, we serve one God. Yeah. We are one in Christ. We're one in God. And until we start doing that, you understand? You know, America is one of the best countries on the planet. We're not perfect, but we are the best because everybody wants to be here.
That's right.
And everybody wants us to come to their rescue. Well, if we so bad, now these the same people who generally push this kind of stuff, they hate the country. Yeah. They hate everything we stand for.
Always want to divide.
Always want to divide. God is not divided, which means when I say to the people at our church, when I say God's not divided, that means the family shouldn't be divided. You know, husband and wife shouldn't be divided. You got to work it out, make it become one. As God says, we're one. St. John 17, which is one of my favorites, we are one in him. You know, I've kept those that you've given me, and as I in you, they in me, and we in you. You know, so No, I do not agree with affirmative action. I'm glad they overturned it, and it needs to go away, and just doesn't need to raise its head.
We won't ever get ahead.
No.
Well, back in the early 1900s and going into your generation and on, America produced the best.
Mm-hmm.
And I get affirmative action. I understand why, right? My grandparents were all part of that, and I can go into a long story, which I'm not. But and those positions came about, and it gave people of color opportunities for a season, and for a long season,
long time, yeah,
including my people. So, however, it held us back as a country by putting in the best, because I want the best engineers. I want the best developers. I want the best doctors. I want the best pilots. I want the best educators at these schools, right? It's important in regardless of skin color, shape of eyes, color of hair, whatever it is, male, female. I want our country to thrive at the highest level.
At the highest.
In technology,
yes.
Everything.
Everything.
And we cannot say, oh, well, you don't have enough Latinos there, you don't have enough Chinese there, you don't have enough blacks there. Like, just understand, like, we got to get to a place where we want the best in these fields.
Absolutely.
To thrive as a nation and as a whole.
Yes.
And look, Latinos, if you're listening, you get out there and hit them books and prove yourself and climb that ladder.
That's right.
That's just the truth.
That's just the truth.
There's nothing that can hold us back.
Nothing that can hold you back.
But us.
That's
and
right.
Your story was a true inspiration of that.
Man, I appreciate it. And I stand to testify that I'm a living proof and witness of what can be done. I've never had anyone that even tried to hold me back. I had more people that were not my race that tried to help me.
Nice.
Praise
God.
And
favor,
man. God gave it to me. I give a good, quick example. When I first got in the Army and went over into serving the Green Beret and the Special Forces, the person that took me home with them every day to eat lunch with his wife was a white soldier. He was my first sergeant. Then look at me like black. Willie, man, I like Willie. Willie, good people. Come on, go home with me. I went on the first time after that. Hey, Willie, the wife said, come to lunch. You see, I don't look out of those lenses.
Yeah.
See, so I think we hold ourselves back by doing that. I really do.
Well, hey, Pastor. Hey, thank you for coming on the show.
Oh, man, it was a joy.
You're awesome, man. You're a great friend of mine.
Yes.
And, tell people how they can reach out to you or just get in contact with you.
Yeah, just reach out to me. If you want to reach me, you can always call City Hall of Houston. And it's easy to get to me. And my email address is councilmember at large position number 2, Willie Davis. And you just go to willie.davis at HoustonTX.gov. Willie.Davis at Houston, HOSTONTX.gov. And of course, you can always, reach out to me at our church. We call it the Palm Church. It's McGregor Palm Community Baptist Church, a.k.a. the Palm Church. And we're located at 11410 MLK Boulevard. 11410 MLK Boulevard in Southeast Houston. We're not far from the CT Church. And my good friend and pastor, thank you for having me, my friend.
Awesome. Hey, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you guys learned a lot. I hope it was inspirational. I hope you shared this story with your friends and somebody that could really benefit from it. Remember to like, follow, and share the page and continue to help us promote it. You take care. Go out there, be more than a conqueror. God bless.
Be blessed.
Man, thank you, brother.
Thank you, man. What a
You're
blessing.
awesome.